Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome friends to this Wednesday evening Sutta Studies class. And this evening for the last month or so, we've been covering suttas in the Anguttara Nikaya. And we are in the chapter of the tens. So the numbered verses are we've gone through numbers 1 through 10. Now we're working on the tens. And this evening we're going to be covering in the book of tens, number 103 through 110, I believe. We might skip one or two. And the main topic is the wrong view and the right view. And basically this refers to the Noble Eightfold Path. And so I'm going to be reading parts of this. I hope most of you, some of you may not be on our mailing list, our Google group mailing list for these weekly programs where I usually include the suttas and topics for the coming week. And for those of you who are not on that group mailing list from the Lion of Wisdom, you can send me your email address and request to be put on the mailing list. So our email is lionofwisdom.org, www.lionwisdom.org, and just request to be on the mailing list. Okay, so we're going to start with, again, the Book of Tens, and with, if you happen to have the book, or if you're reading the attachment that I sent out with the suttas on it, number 103, and the title is The Wrong Course. So the bhikkhu is addressing the monks, and he says, monks, in dependence on the wrong course, the wrong way, there is failure, not success. And how is it that dependence on the wrong course, there is failure and not success? One who has wrong view, wrong intention originates. For one who has wrong intention, wrong speech originates. For one of wrong speech, wrong action originates. For one of wrong action, wrong livelihood originates. For one of wrong livelihood, wrong effort originates. For one of wrong effort, wrong mindfulness originates. For one of wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration originates. For one of wrong concentration, wrong knowledge originates. For one of wrong knowledge, wrong liberation originates. In this way, dependent on the wrong way, the wrong course, there is failure, not success. Now, of course, the Buddha is talking about success in the Dhamma. And failure is not making progress in the Dhamma and becoming further enmeshed, entwined in ignorance and the negative karmic formations that come because of that ignorance and the wrong intention and wrong speech and wrong action, as was just mentioned. And then he says, independence on the right way, there is success, not failure. And how is it that independence on the right view, there is success and not failure? For one of right view, right intention originates. For one of right intention, right speech originates. For one of right speech, right action originates. For one of right action, right livelihood originates. For one of right livelihood, right effort originates. For one of right effort, right mindfulness originates. For one of right mindfulness, right concentration originates. For one of right concentration, right knowledge originates. For one of right knowledge, right liberation originates. In this way, in dependence on the right view, the right way, there is success, not failure. Now, so this is assuming most of you already have an understanding of the Noble Eightfold Path and the right view. You know, the Noble Eightfold Path starts with the right view. Now, when the words sometimes are called harmonious view, but a lot of times you'll hear right and wrong in the Buddhist teaching, and it doesn't mean this way is right and everything else is wrong. It means when they say right view, right speech, it means by following these types of, the right view, which is the Four Noble Truths, and following the rest of the Eightfold Path, it leads to the right attaining of liberation, to the stages of becoming liberated from greed, hatred, and delusion, from becoming liberated from one's negative karmic actions, and so on, that of course bring us suffering. And we talked about that in the last week, in the last 2 weeks' sutta class as well. And then some people might say, some teachers are saying, oh, mindfulness is always right. Well, actually, the words mindfulness, people talk about mindfulness, but the Buddha taught right mindfulness. So whenever we're talking about the Buddhist teaching, it's right mindfulness as opposed to just ordinary mindfulness or wrong mindfulness. And he says, there's also wrong mindfulness and wrong concentration, which leads to wrong types of, experiences or delusions, and the wrong types of knowledge. That's maybe a little bit harder to understand, but anyway. So we always preface not saying just mindfulness, but the right mindfulness. And, and also the right concentration. In the Buddha's definition of right concentration, it has to be preceded by right mindfulness, as opposed to wrong concentration. Now, let's say a cat is focused on a mouse, catching a mouse. So he might be mindful of the mouse's movements, but his intention, it's coming from a wrong intention, the intention to kill or harm the mouse. Of course, it's the nature of a cat to do that. So, there can be arguments for that. But anyways, as a point. So, or a thief could be mindful, tiptoeing into a house, not to trip over something and make noises, right? But his intention is to steal something. So that is wrong mindfulness because it's not supported by the right view and the right efforts and the right speech and action and so on. So this is a primary, qualification when we're talking about the way the Buddha explained things. So, and a thief could be concentrated on, trying to pick a lock or something. But again, and he might gain a kind of a concentration, but it's not right concentration because the motive, the intention is a wrong intention to steal something. So this is how we have to try to, when we're talking about mindfulness and concentration, especially in the Buddha Dhamma, we have to be aware that, understand what is the right mindfulness, the right effort, and the right concentration as opposed to the wrong kind. And so the right actions and so on lead to happiness. The wrong actions, wrong intentions, wrong mindfulness lead to more and more suffering. Now, so that was the end of that short sutta. Now there's a couple more that have the same kind of theme, but using some different analogies. So number 104 is titled A Seed. So again, the Buddha is talking to the monks. For a person of wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration, wrong knowledge, and wrong liberation. For those with these wrong intentions, whatever bodily karma, verbal karma, and mental karma that person instigates and undertakes in accordance with the wrong view, and whatever his volitions, yearning, inclinations, volitional activities, all lead to what is unwished for, undesired, and disagreeable, to harm and suffering. For what reason? Because the view is bad. Now the Buddha gives a nice little analogy of that with a seed. He says, suppose, monks, a seed of neem, a bitter cucumber, or bitter gourd were planted in the moist soil. Now, neem is again, it's a bitter type of a tree with leaves, although it has medicinal properties and so on, but it's still of a bitter taste. So anyway, these seeds of the bitter cucumber and neem and gourd, and they were planted in the moist soil. Whatever nutriments it would take up from the soil and from the water would all lead to its bitter, pungent, and disagreeable flavor. For what reason? Because the seed is bad. Of course, those are not necessarily bad fruits, but they taste bad. So too, for a person of wrong view, then all the rest of the Eightfold Path, the wrong aspects, wrong liberation, whatever bodily karma and verbal karma and mental karma he instigates and undertakes, then it all leads to what is unwished for, undesired, and disagreeable, to harm and suffering. And for what reason? Because the view is bad. And then he gives the opposite. But for a person of right view, right intention, and all the rest arise. And so whatever bodily, verbal, and mental karma they do, in accordance with that right views, the volition, yearning, inclination, and mental activities all lead to what is wished for, what is desired and agreeable, to well-being and happiness. And for what reason? Because the view is good. And so he gives another analogy. Suppose, monks, a seed of sugarcane, hill rice, or grapes were planted in the moist soil. Whatever nutriments it would take up from the soil and from the water would all lead to its agreeable, sweet, and delectable flavor. For what reason? Because the seed is good. So too, for a person of right view and all the rest of the Eightfold Path, including the right knowledge and right liberation, that leads to what is wished for, desired, agreeable, well-being, the end of suffering. And for what reason? Because the view is good. Now, many of you are familiar with the Noble Eightfold Path, but what we've been reading here is the Noble Tenfold Path, which includes right knowledge and right liberation. So some of you may or may not be familiar with those extra two factors of the Tenfold Path, because normally they talk about just the Eightfold Path that ends with the right concentration. And so the Eightfold Path ends with right concentration. It's leading, like the Eightfold Path leads you to a bank of the river. And then the ninth and the 10th steps are right knowledge and right liberation. Now this refers to attaining the four paths and fruits. Attaining the stage of the Sotapanna, once returning, never returning in the Arahant stage. And each of those is preceded by a certain knowledge, and then the liberation that comes with that stage of knowledge. But it's like, let's say the Eightfold Path takes you to a bank of a wide flowing river. Now that path has taken you as far as you can go. Now you have to devise a way to get across, and there's a simile of a vine that's, hanging on a tree. And one then runs and grabs a hold of that vine and swings over to the other bank, and then lets go of the vine and drops down to the bank on the other side, which is called the liberation. Anyway, that can be a whole another kind of a talk. Okay, so then another one, we're going to go to number 106, because again, some of these are quite similar, but number 106, Buddha is saying, monks, there are these 10 cases of wearing away. What are the 10 types of wearing away? For one of right view, wrong view is worn away. And the numerous bad, unwholesome qualities that originate with wrong view, those are also worn away. And with right view as condition, numerous wholesome qualities reach fulfillment by development. And for one of right intention, wrong intention is worn away. And when wrong intention is worn away, right intention arises. And the numerous wholesome qualities reach fulfillment by development. And then basically it goes through the same thing for the rest of the Eightfold Path. For one of right mindfulness, wrong mindfulness is worn away. For one of right concentration, wrong concentration is worn away. And all the unwholesome qualities that would arise with the wrong concentration. And the same for the right knowledge and the right liberation. These are the 10 cases of wearing away. Because our defilements in our mind stay strong and accumulate power because we keep on exercising them. And we keep on exercising them because we haven't developed these types of, the right view, right intention, right speech, action, livelihood, and of course the mindfulness and the right concentration. So that is why, the practice, it takes a constant practice of, developing these, the Noble Eightfold Path. And the mindfulness, we have to be mindful when the wrong intentions arise. And when we have the urge to want to use wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, or when we're starting to concentrate in a wrong way or develop wrong views, we have to be mindful of that in order to apply the right effort to let go of those unskillful intentions and to cultivate the wholesome intentions. But again, it all starts with the right view. And that is basically understanding the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, there's one more of these in this kind of series that I wanted to just go over or read, called The Physician, titled, The Physician. So monks, physicians prescribe a medicine for eliminating all ailments originating from bile, phlegm, and wind. There is this aromatic, or let's say medicine, that I do not deny. So the Buddha didn't deny that there are medicines that can purge the body of, certain types of negative conditions. And the Buddha didn't deny that. But he says, yet these type of medicines, sometimes they succeed and sometimes they fail, right? So we've all experienced that. People go to the doctor and they get prescribed medicine and sometimes they don't work or they cause other problems and they have to go back and the doctor, keeps trying to, have to change their medicine a few times until they find something that agrees with their system. But then he says, but monks, I will prescribe the noble medicine that is always successful and never fails. So that's a pretty bold statement. In dependence on this medicine, beings are subject, people that are subject to birth are freed from birth. Beings that are subject to old age and death are freed from old age and death. Beings that are subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. And he tells the monks to, listen closely. He says, what, monks, is that noble medicine that's always successful and never fails? For one a right view, wrong view is vomited up. So he's talking about purges, medicines that cause you to, purge or vomit, poisons and other things, or take an enema to, purge bile or other things from your system. So for one a right view, wrong view is vomited up. And the numerous unwholesome qualities are also vomited up. And so he says that, he goes over the same thing for one of right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right concentration, right knowledge, and right liberation. The wrong aspects of those are, vomited up. That means they're overcome and eliminated. Of course, not all at once, but they're gradually, overcome. So for one of right, so at the end he says, this, monks, is that noble medicine that always succeeds and never fails, and in dependence on which beings subject to birth are freed from birth, freed from old age and death, freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Of course, he's talking about when one attains the final stage of liberation. Now, some people may say, well, I tried practicing the Dhamma and I didn't succeed. Well, the Dhamma medicine, the medicine of the Dhamma is not necessarily like just a medicine you would take that you might get the benefits of that medicine over, sometimes very quickly, or, a few days or longer. But we also know, even in Western medicine, right, that taking medicine, some people have to take medicine their whole life, like, heart pressure, blood pressure medicines, or some other types of diabetic medications, and so on. So in the practice of Dhamma, that's a meditation that we take, but one has to take the medicine in the right way and not miss, because just the same way, if you miss a course of antibiotics, even though the doctors say you have to take 7 days, don't miss any course of antibiotic. You have to take for 7 days, because this happened to me one time. I was in Sri Lanka as a young monk in my first year as a monk, and I got some illness. Actually, it was like elephantitis or filaria. And I was to take this course of antibiotics because my arm was starting to swell up. You've heard about elephantitis, right, where people's legs swell up really big and so on. So my arm was starting to swell up. It was a mosquito bite. And the doctor said, take this course of antibiotics. So I started taking it, and in about 4 days, the swelling started going down and almost had gone all the way down. And so, being a kind of, stubborn, I said, "Oh, I'm not going to take any more," because I didn't like to take antibiotics. Some people don't want to, anti-vaxxers, right? They don't want to take any vaccines. So there's some people that are kind of averse to taking, medicines or antibiotics, right? So I was like that. So I stopped taking this course of antibiotics after the 4th or 5th day, and it came back again. It came back again. So I learned my lesson. And so I had to go back to the doctor. Of course, he berated me and said, "You're a monk. You're supposed to be practicing meditation. You can't even follow my instructions." So I was kind of embarrassed, right? But I was a young monk, so stubborn American young monk. So anyway, I had to. This time I took that full course of antibiotics, and then I got cured from it, and I never had that problem again. So all of the Buddha's teachings about avoiding of bad friends and other things like that, associating with noble persons in the Dhamma and all these things, these are all part of the medicine of helping to protect our practice of the right view and to associate with people that always remind us and encourage us to, practice meditation every day. Because also meditation, Dhamma is a medicine. And meditation, especially the practice of meditation, it should be seen like brushing your teeth or taking a bath every day. So most of you probably brush your teeth every day or take a bath maybe every day or every couple of days, but anyway, quite regularly. And why is that? Because, we want to not to have a bad breath or to get, some more serious tooth infection. Or, basically to keep clean. But we don't want to stink, basically, to your friends. You go breathe on somebody and you haven't brushed your teeth, and, then, they'll, get offended or something. So, like that, daily meditation is like brushing our mind or washing our mind every day. That means washing out wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, action, livelihood, and the rest. And by washing it with these the right views. So there's just one more that I wanted to read. This is the verse 121. On the chat box. Yeah, let me finish this last one. Okay, I'm going to just one last very short one. It says, monks, just as the dawn is the forerunner and precursor of the sunrise, so too is right view is the forerunner and precursor of all wholesome qualities. It's for the precursor and forerunner of right view is the forerunner of right intention. For one of right intentions, the forerunner of right speech. Right speech originates, and all the rest of them, the right action, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right effort, right concentration, right knowledge, and right liberation, they all have right view as the forerunner. So that's why out of a lot of people, they say, oh, mindfulness is the most important thing, or they just want to practice mindfulness. but it should be supported by right view. If it's just mindfulness, a lot of people say, I don't need right view. I don't need these other things. And they just want to meditate. And that's why many people fail, or they don't, not necessarily fail, but it may take them a lot longer practice. And the practice is more difficult because they have to battle more the hindrances. So they might be practicing, meditation, but they might not be following well the right action, right speech and action, and so on, and the other aspects of the Eightfold Path. So, okay, so those were the short sutras, just to re-emphasize about the Noble Eightfold Path. And you can see how, what we call meditation, or right mindfulness and right concentration, these come at the end of the Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path was enumerated in that way for a reason, because each one is a stepping stone to the next one. Without the right view, then our meditation can become a wrong kind of meditation, or it won't lead to the right type of liberation, or the right knowledge, or the right liberation. So, okay, so let's see if there's any questions that have come up. His first question is, can you please explain the sense of mundane attributes, such as mundane right view, and the counterpart supramundane right view? Yes. So just as we said, there is the right knowledge and right liberation, there's the mundane Eightfold Path, refers to the Eightfold Path before a person attains the level of a sotapanna, until one's mind has entered the stream, until one has had that first glimpse of the deathless state. All those things, right view and right, speech, action, mindfulness, they're considered mundane because they haven't directly seen the right view, is still intellectual right view, or it's based on just kind of a mediocre level of meditation, and it hasn't directly experienced that the transcendence of the ego delusion and weak or destroy the three fetters. So therefore, the mundane Eightfold Path refers to what most people are practicing until they attain at least the stage of the Sotapanna. And then it is considered the supramundane path because they have that supramundane penetration knowledge. So attaining the stage of the Sotapanna means a person who has developed mindfulness and concentration to a very high degree, developed the 7 factors of enlightenment until one's mind breaks through the self-delusion and overcomes the wrong views, and he directly understands the Four Noble Truths. That's the definition of the right view, is understanding suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. And that means understanding it with that direct penetration, that developed bhavanamaya panya, not just the intellectual wisdom or even just reflective wisdom, but it's glimpsing that, even though it's just momentary, that momentary experience of, you could call it emptiness, or the transcendence of the self, or the Buddha called it the deathless state, or nibbana. Now that's just a temporary attainment, but the mind, will never kind of forget it, even though it may not have that view permanently until one attains the state of a arahant. So anyway, that's the difference between the mundane and the supramundane. Supramundane means you've attained at least the stage of the sotapanna, or better, even the stage of the once returner, never returner, and the arahant stage. So the arahant has perfected it totally, whereas the other ones have just barely made it. Sotapanna just barely made it onto the right view, but still, nevertheless, he has that, or she has that. Okay. And so there's certain, each of those 4 stages of enlightenment destroy certain fetters. And I've given talks on those. I'm not going to go over them now, it'd take too long. But the 10 fetters are gradually, the 3 fetters are destroyed with the attainment of sotapanna, the belief in a self, attachment to rites and rituals, and doubts about the Dhamma. So those are overcome. So that's why that one is considered to have the right view. Okay, the second question, why is right view based upon the Four Noble Truths and not based upon anicca, dukkha, and anatta? Well, the anicca, dukkha, and anatta are part of the Four Noble Truths. It's the third noble truth, the end of suffering. And so it's the practice of meditation. It's the practice of the Eightfold Path, as we just mentioned, the right mindfulness and right concentration. That has to lead to the understanding of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And it's only penetrating those 3 characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta, that is when one has the right view. So, anicca, dukkha, and anatta are not something different than the Four Noble Truths. They're included within the Four Noble Truths. So there's a lot contained within the Four Noble Truths. A lot of people just hear the short little definition: suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, the path leading to the cessation of suffering. But each one of those categories has many, 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 attributes to it that have to be understood. And anicca, dukkha, and anatta is part of understanding about the path leading to the ending of suffering. And the right view is that everything is impermanent, and that clinging to impermanent things causes suffering or dukkha. And all these 5 aggregates are anatta. So all these are very much part of the Dhamma teachings that are all included within the Four Noble Truths. I hope that cleared up any confusion about that. Okay, another question. Would you please give us a concise statement or definition of right view? Okay, you asked for it. I just said it, actually. The Buddha defined right view is the right view of suffering, understanding suffering, what it is, all of its nuances and categories. And I'm not going to repeat it all now, but you can read it in look up the Samaditthi Sutta, the sutta on right view. Venerable Sariputra gave a whole sutta on Samaditi Sutta. I'm sure one of these people, Michael or one of the other people out there, can pop up the sutta of, I can't, tell it right off, in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Right View Sutta. I think it's one of the, one near the end. But anyway, you can look that up. And so it's the definition of right view is understanding suffering, understanding the cause of suffering, understanding the cessation of suffering, and understanding the path leading to the cessation of suffering. You can't get more concise than that. And that's exactly how the Buddha defined it. But again, the elaboration of all those four comes when you read deeper into the suttas, like the Samaditi Sutta will explain it very nicely. This question, in a nutshell, what does right view consist of as it leads to right intention? Well, I've just mentioned that. The right view in a nutshell is understanding suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path leading to the cessation of suffering. And what is suffering? Birth is suffering. Old age, disease, and death is suffering. Not getting what you want is suffering. Getting what you don't want is suffering. And in short, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. This is exactly how the Buddha defined it. And there's many, many sutras. I've already gone over a lot of these in the beginning. Last year, I covered the basic teachings and the sutras covering all these things. You can go back and listen to some of my first, 5 or 10 talks in the sutta studies, and also on the Sunday Dhamma talks. I've covered all those, so quite a bit of it. Okay, so let me see, is that it? Okay. Okay, there you go. Thank you, Michael. Cloud, Samaditi Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya. Is that 146 or 46? There he gives a link.
It's 9.
It's 9. Okay,
Yes.
Okay, Majjhima Nikaya number 9. There's a link to it there. So I don't know if you can copy and paste that, but or look up Majjhima Nikaya number 9, Samaditi Sutta. Just Google it in Samaditi Sutta. It'll come out immediately. It'll come out and have a link or show you the sutta translated by either Thanissara Bhikkhu or Sujato Bhikkhu. And of course, if you have the Bhikkhu Bodhi's wisdom publications book. Okay, so I would, I behoove or suggest, recommend that people that have these questions go back and read those suttas because it's explained very well in those suttas. Okay, so okay, I think and that'll be enough for this portion of our program. And so we'll take a short break, come back to a few yoga stretches, and then have our meditation. Okay? So I'll see you back in a few minutes. Oh, good. You turned on the recording. So there's no sound recording now, right? taken away and can't see my head. Or they're not seeing this at home. Why am I so big? I want to be able to, I wanted them to be able to see my hands above my head. What's the problem? I can't understand. Have to go back. Let's go. I'll move this up. Put the camera. Okay, that's the reason. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Sorry about the little delay. We're still working out some of the technical issues so you can see better. Okay, so we're going to do a few stretches in order to help the mind get centered in the body, which meditation really begins. So just stand straight, relax your shoulders and arms to the side. Feel the feet pressing the floor. Turn the clock around so I can see the clock. And then begin taking some deep, slow breaths. Try to draw the air from the lower lungs. Move it up closer to me. I can't see it. Draw the air into the upper part of the chest. Hold the air in the lungs a few seconds. And slowly let out the breath. We do the movements while breathing in, holding the position for 2 or 3 seconds with the breath held in the lungs. Then return to the starting point on the out breath. Repeating each movement 3 times. So on the next in breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch your head back. Look up at the back of your hands. The out breath, turn the palms down, touch the top of your head. Again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, bend back a little bit. Out breath, touch the top of the head. The third time, hold that upward stretch longer, bend back a little more. And release the fingers, the out breath, arms back to the sides. Just gently close the eyes, just try to feel the increased bodily sensations, especially in your hands and fingers. If you can't feel that, feel the clothing touching your skin. Just remember the present moment of standing, the here and now, grounding the awareness in the body. Okay, now with the next in breath, push up on the toes while raising the arms over the head. In this way, facing the hands toward each other, about 6 inches apart, and stretch. Out breath, come back down, arms to the side, heels to the floor. Use the breath to help lift the body up. In breath. It's like blowing up a helium balloon. Out. in, out. And relax. Just close the eyes. Feel that increased body sensations, subtle pulsations in your fingers, palms, some tingling sensation, or any other sensations on the body, clothing touching the skin. Any physical sensations, that connection to the present moment, connection to the body. So remember standing. And then next we'll do the side bending using both arms. So on the in-breath, raise both arms up, keeping the fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can, or to keep your arms and hands parallel to each other. In-breath, lift up. Then to the left side, out-breath. Little stretch in the side. In-breath, up. Again to the right, out-breath. In, out. In, out. In, out. In. On the out-breath, lower both arms. Just relax. Just close the eyes. Just keep feeling the body. Don't give the mind time to wander to other things. Just feel any sensations on the clothing touching the skin, or sensations under the skin, like subtle pulsations, itching, biting sensations, prickling sensations. If you can't feel anything like that, just remember standing. Just letting your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind, keeping the standing, breathing body in the front of the awareness. Okay, now spread the legs apart about 3 feet. And place the hands together at the chest. And breathe in, the hands over the head. On the out breath, lower the hands to the chest and bend the knees and lower down. Try to keep the back upright. Feet flat on the floor. Feel the stretch in the hips and knees. In breath all the way up. Again, out breath down. in, out, in. And the out breath, arms back to the sides. Just relax. Just feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel the clothing touching the legs. Feel the arms and hands hanging there. Feel your head and face, different sensations. Just this body exactly as it is, here and now. This present moment, body-centered awareness. Just the starting point for any deeper meditation. Okay, now hold the arms out at the side, ideally to keep the arms parallel to the floor. We're going to do twisting from right to left. So take a deep breath. And look to the right on the out breath, twist around to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. On the in breath, come back to the front. Let the feet turn with the body. And then twist to the other side with the out breath. In breath to the front. Just keep going like that, alternating sides, out breath to the right. In breath. Out breath left. In. Once more to each side, out breath. And lower the arms, relax. Just feel the sensation in your shoulders, hands. All those sensations are simply the activated life force, cellular vibrations, the oxygenated blood, the electrical energy being distributed out through the nervous system. Just try to feel that whole separate inner world underneath the skin. It's the real life, actually. Okay, now bring the legs together. And we'll do the head turning from right to left. Just standing straight, keep the chin level with the floor. On the in-breath, turn the head to the right as far as you comfortably can. Try to look over your right shoulder. Turn your eyes to the right. Try to look behind you. In-breath, come all the way back to the left. Or the out-breath, excuse me. In-breath back to the right. Concentrate into the neck vertebrae. Imagine, feel them loosening up. Out breath left. In breath right. Out breath left. On the in breath, let the head stop in the middle. Just relax. Just feel the whole body. Feet pressing the floor. The arms and hands at the side. The head balanced on top. Clothing touching the skin on different places. Just this body exactly as it is, here and now. Present moment awareness. This breathing body with all of its sensations, just the anchor for the mind, the anchor to the present moment. Okay, that'd be enough for now. So we'll go ahead and come back to our seats. Okay, friends, so try to sit in a comfortable position. Just try to align the head and spine in a straight line. Try to establish that natural inward curve of the lower lumbar spine. Helps support the weight of the upper body. Place your hands where you want to keep them. Try to keep them in either one on top of the other, in your lap or against the abdomen or on your legs. Just gently close the eyes. Now bring your total attention down to feel the buttocks and feet pressing the floor underneath. Just feel that weight of the body pressing the seat or floor. It's like focusing a camera lens on an object. Just focus the attention down, try to feel where your buttocks press the seat. See if you can feel the right buttock, the left buttock. And move the attention to the feet. First of all, try to feel the heels of each foot. Feel the sensations in the heel. Just focus the attention, like bringing a camera lens into sharp focus. Power of concentration. Try to feel the rest of the foot, or the arch of the feet, and then the toes. Just feel the subtle sensations, pulsations, where the socks touch the skin of the feet. Concentration is being able to hold your attention on that spot. And the alertness of the mindfulness can feel the different sensations within that particular spot. What you call concentrated awareness. Now move the attention up to feel your hands and fingers. Feel the subtle sensations in the hands and fingers. Try to feel the outline of your thumbs or fingers, where they touch together, where they touch the body. And now feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. And feel where the clothing touches the skin of the shoulders and arms. Many little sensations there. Friction of the clothing against the skin, producing sensation. Also just remember sitting These arms belong to the larger sitting body. Now moving the intention up to feel where the clothing touches the base of your neck, collar of your shirt, clothing, the base of the neck. And feel inside the throat. See if there's any sensation to want to swallow, to cough, or any other sensation in the throat. It's like looking down a microscope of concentrated awareness. And now moving the attention up into the face. Feel your lips touching together. Try to feel the upper lip touching the lower lip. Feel any sensation of dryness or moistness in the lips. Feel the tongue laying in the mouth, where the tongue touches any teeth or the roof of the mouth. Feel the raw sensation. And now feel the eyes in the sockets, and the eyelids stretched over the eyeballs. Just feel those subtle eye movements, the blood pulsing in the capillaries of the eyes or eyelids. You might see some light or color or mental image or just darkness. Just sort of gaze on the eyeballs. It's like there was a video camera behind your eyeballs, taking a video of your eyeballs, just as sensations. Then feeling the face. The video camera is taking a video of the face from the inside view. Feel like the skin stretched over the forehead, the nose, the lips, cheek, chin. Because awareness is like a video camera. Mental camera. And kind of open up that view to feel the outline of the whole body. Gradually feel the shoulders, the arms, hands, buttocks and feet pressing the floor underneath. Sort of imagine us taking an inner video, that outline of the body and all the different sensations. And the concentration is keeping the mind within the body, the mindfulness, the alertness is feeling the different sensations come and go, feeling the anicca, the impermanence, so many different sensations coming and going, different parts of the body, pulsations, prickling sensations, clothing touching the skin. Any aches or pain. And now you can begin some deep, slow breathing to get more centered on the breathing process. And then try to take a few seconds to slowly breathe in, expanding the lungs and chest, holding the air in a few seconds to allow all the oxygen to get into the bloodstream and feel the outgoing breath. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs on the out breath. And then the next in breath. Just take several more deep, slow breaths like that, oxygenating this living, breathing body. Just cultivating this basic awareness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now let's count our breaths from 1 to 10. Try to develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. With the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Feel the pause, and with the contracting out breath, so count 1. The next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In breath, 3. Out breath, 3. In breath, 4. Out breath, 4. In breath, 5. Out breath, 5. In breath, 6. Out breath, 6. In breath, 7. Out breath, 7. In breath, 8. Out breath, 8. In breath, 9. Out breath, 9. In breath, 10. Out breath, 10. Now discontinue the counting. Discontinue any control or deeper breathing, just letting the breathing return to its own shorter rhythm, but continue to feel it, continue to stay focused on the subtler sensations. Try to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of the stomach, rib cage, or chest, with the subtler breath. To feel this brief pause in the out breath, the brief pause. Just knowing when the breath is coming in and knowing when the breath is going out. And knowing is that alert awareness. You can feel the different sensations. That's how you know you're breathing in or breathing out. The sensations of in-breathing are different from the sensations of out-breathing. And each breath is different. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes the in-breath is longer than the out-breath, or the out-breath is longer than the in-breath. It's always changing. Just become like a scientist sitting in the laboratory, trying to understand the breathing process, to observe it. This body is the meditator's laboratory, and the microscope is our concentrated awareness. So the concentration is being able to keep the mind focused on the breathing, the awareness, mindfulness is noticing the subtle changes, different sensations connected with the breathing process. Seeing how each breath begins, lasts a minute, moment, and ceases. The in-breath arises, ceases, stops. The out-breath starts, lasts a moment, stops. It's called seeing the impermanent. And all those little sensations connected with the breath just arise and vanish with each moment. That's the development of inner wisdom, seeing anicca, impermanence of the breathing process. That means it's always changing. All the sensations coming and going. Use these mental remindings, just in, sitting, out, out, sitting. It's the ongoing, continuous, present moment of this breathing body. Even while feeling the sensations of breathing, you might notice other sensations on your body, your face, also just come and go. So this understanding that this body lives on the breathing, the in-breath, breathing in life-giving oxygen, the out-breath expelling the noxious carbon dioxide. This breathing process is what also charges up all the cells of the body and activates them. all those different sensations you're feeling in the body. So just sensations of cellular interreactions, the life process, this constant state of flux, change, impermanence. It's the mind of the meditator, scientist. It's looking through the microscope of concentrated awareness. Feel this aggregate of the body. Which is just the material vibration. And in these material vibrations some of them are pleasant sensations, some of them are irritating or painful sensations. Many others are just neutral sensations. In sitting, out, out, sitting. Just opening up to, tuning in to the flow of impermanence in this sensation body. So many different kinds of sensations. Very subtle sensation. Even feeling the pulse of blood in the artery. Just letting go of your thoughts. Just let the thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Just keeping a concentrated mindfulness focused on the breathing body. Feel that centeredness in the breathing body. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Feeling the sitting posture. Be alert for thoughts sneaking up into the mind to take your attention away. That's where you have to be mindful. Get caught up in thinking, just recognize it as thinking. Let go of the thought. Take a deep breath. Bring the mind back into the body. If you hear any sounds, and just know it as just hearing. It's just sound vibrations coming through the ears, impermanence. They just come and go. But if you think about the sound, that is thinking. It's not hearing. Stay grounded in the body. All our sounds and thoughts, urges, sensations are all just coming and going through this breathing body. The flow of impermanence and the five aggregates. All the sensations of the body is the body aggregate. Even sound vibrations are part of the material aggregate. The feelings they generate, pleasant, painful, or neutral feelings, is the feelings aggregate. And if you identify any body parts or objects, that's perception. Mental pictures or names and labels that pop into the mind. Perception. And then the reaction to those feelings and perceptions is the sankharas, the volitional formation, the reaction, emotion. And even the state of our consciousness. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's confused. The thoughts of the ego, I, me, or mine. All of these five aggregates are constantly changing. It's the rising, ceasing, changing. Is turning up the power of the mental microscope, the concentrated awareness, to notice subtler, more sensations, connections between sensations, feelings, perceptions, thought. It's the mental scientist observing the body-mind process. Of its continuous state of changing impermanence and conditioning. That's the vipassana awareness. It's grounded in the concentrated mind. One who is concentrated sees reality as it is and goes beyond confusion. what perceptions or thoughts arise based on that sound vibration just arose, last a few seconds, vanishing. Sabbe sankhara aniccati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukhi yesamaggo visuddhya. Dukkha pata cha nidukkha bhaya pata cha nibbaya sokha pata cha nisokha hontu sabbe pipanino. All conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to change and vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to purity, to freedom. And may the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way, may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. And thus spoke the Buddha. And now for those who like, you can join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times to finish the meditation. If you like, you can place the hands together at the chest. Take a deep breath. Now place the hands at the edge of your knees. On the next in breath, take a deep breath. Stretch your head back. Pull the hands against the knees. Arch your spine a bit. And lift the head up on the in-breath. The out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae. And the in-breath, lift the head up level. And the out-breath, just relax. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So hope you're able to have just a few minutes of some peaceful meditation, some good awareness, some insights, and try to keep up your meditation practice throughout the week. Again, because it's again, just remember that the practice of meditation and it's like brushing your teeth or taking a bath every day. People find time to do that. Why do they find time to do that? Well, because they want their bodies, or to smell nice and get disease. But what about our mind? So, meditation is the washing, the inner washing for our mind to again wash away our negative thoughts, our wrong views, wrong intentions, and so on. And don't forget, mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. Sutta a day keeps delusion away. And Namo Buddhaya. Okay.